The other day, I realized something. I realized what a historic time we have right now in the automotive industry. And that mainly comes from the diversity of options of vehicle powertrains that consumers have today. And none more important than the choice between hybrid and gas models. And Lexus has really grown to fame with having a great option of both. So in today's video, I'm going to compare the ES350 V6 front-wheel drive model versus the ES300H to see which one comes out on top between hybrid and gas. And I already know the answer to a few of the tests I'm going to be doing, and I do think that both have very big strengths, so it's going to come down to what's better for you. I'm Justin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus related content. So I want to spend most of this video driving, but before I wanted to do a proper introduction into the two cars that we're going to be driving today. Now keep in mind, the ES has been a staple in the Lexus lineup pretty much since launch, since it was the second car they released right after the LS. This car has really evolved over the years, where being a really subtle executive sedan into something sporty like the ES350 F-Sport design beside me. And that's why I think it's so important to really hone down on which version of this car is right for you. So we have the ES350 front-wheel drive V6, which is the F-Sport design. I felt like that was very fitting for today's comparison. And also the classic beige on beige ES300H in an ultra luxury fashion. So that's the fully loaded executive kind of style of the sedan. And both of them are going to check different boxes. So instead of wasting any more time, let's just get into the drive. I'm just starting to get into the car and I already realized I messed up the package. I don't know why I said F-Sport design. This is the Blackline edition, which is like another special edition for this year, but it's like the fully loaded special edition instead of the F-Sport design is like more of like an entry-level special edition. And this one's way more fully loaded. I love there's some details that are new, and I'm super into that. But otherwise, it's the ES interior that I know and love. This car got redesigned in 2018, I think was for the first time. Sorry, for the 2019 model year. And we literally saw LS sales go down because of this became such a good car for half the price, especially with the introduction of like F-Sport variants and, you know, now F design and Blackline edition variants that made the car, you know, even better. I also like, as we just start to drive, I also like that there's buttons. This is like one of the last cars to have a physical button for things like cooled seats, heated steering wheel, heated seats. Even the climate stuff are all physical buttons, which is kind of nice. We do have heads-up display and panel view monitor, which is quite nice. I like that. Actually, as I'm sitting here, I know a couple guests of mine that would love this car. It does have the Mark Levinson sound system. So you're not, where you're at now with the ES is you're not sacrificing anything to go to a model like Blackline or F-Sport Series 2, where you used to miss out on a few things, and not anymore. I'm excited for the power. It's been a while since I've driven this V6. This is the same V6 that we used to have in things like the RX. It's actually not the same configuration as like the IS, because we're hooked up to those front wheels, so it feels different when you punch it. And it is over 300 horsepower, I think it's like 305. I also love the aluminum trim. There's like this katana trim around it, and it's supposed to look like a sharpened katana blade. So like you almost see brush strokes in it. You don't get that these days with a lot of new cars. I mean that even in our lineup. It's just those level of details that make the ES really special. And I think people have to see it to appreciate it, because if not, you're just reading it on a brochure. And there's way more to this car than what the brochure says. Okay, so we're getting on the highway. I'm just in normal mode. So far, it's so smooth. All you can really hear is my seats. I'm just gonna punch it. We're just gonna see what happens. Okay. That was from second gear. Really good sound, good linear power. It's been a while since I've driven one of these V6s. It wasn't as punchy as I thought from a roll, but I'm gonna put it in sport mode now. You can hear a lot more of that. It's not simulated, but it is piped in intake noises. You hear way more of that in sport mode. It also has Sport Plus. So the difference between Sport Mode and Sport Plus in this car is Sport Mode is going to tune that throttle response and of course the shifts and things like that. And then Sport Plus is going to do that same thing, but add the handling. So now we're gonna see tighter handling, and almost right away as soon as I do it, I notice a bit of a difference. And it's super tight, and I kind of forgot how much I like this car. In this, pretty much this exact configuration. The V6 front-wheel drive is special. We do have Lexus Safety Sense, but it's not gonna be the latest one. It's not like the 3.0, I think it's the 2.5 or something. We have the digital LFT display. So this is the LFA inspired one. So you can actually move that gauge over. And that's a nice detail too. Even between Sport and Sport Plus, the gauge cluster changes even one more time. So that gives it, you know, technically we have Eco mode, normal mode, custom mode, Sport and Sport Plus. Oh yeah, Sport Plus is where it's at. I love that extra sound. Love the extra sound that it gives us. The handling is really good. Really the only noise I hear is from the sunroof, and that's just because that shade is open. If I had the shade closed, it's super quiet. Yeah, I love it. Really, really nice. Paddles are good. It's quick. When you use the paddles on this car to shift, it is really, really quick. Oh, also the steering wheel has like a different feel to it. It's got some perforation on the sides where you put your hands. But I just love this powertrain. It's fun. They're redesigning the ES soon. So next year is gonna be a totally different ES. And this is like the last hurrah of the V6 ES. And I saw the numbers for next year's ES, and it is great. Like, it's gonna be great. That's that engine though. You guys, that's crazy. I'm gonna do that again. I think I got it into first gear there. So if I go into first gear and punch it, it's really, really good. This is not your grandfather's ES. I always say that to people. This thing, it's super elegant and super refined. The fit and finish, the metal, the high quality materials, the smoothness of the ride. But then if you want to get rowdy, she can get ready. She can throw down and do it again. Yeah, that shift is quicker than I ever remembered. Using the paddle shifts, it's bam. It's really, really quick. I would say even comparative to things like the RC that I just reviewed, the IS, this ES Blackline Edition in particular might have the quickest shifting paddle shifters. And I don't mean just the number changing. I mean the actual shift feeling is really, really good. I'm super happy about that. It is busy. It's summertime here in Niagara. You can tell. You can tell because there's stuff happening all the time. Everywhere you go. There's like festivals and stuff like that. I actually knew there was gonna be a festival up here, and I still decided to take this way, which is silly. I can actually smell a little bit of rubber burning too. Okay, so some specs about the ES350. Not size or anything like that, but fuel consumption is going to be different than the hybrid for sure. So any of the F Sport packages, so F Sport 2, the Blackline, or F Performance, is all going to be 10.9. So that gear ratio is probably what we're feeling there. That's 10.9 in the city. The highway is 7.5, and also combined is gonna be 9.4. So technically, I'm driving the worst, the worst in fuel of all the ESs. Now, it wasn't a big deal years ago. Like anything sub 10, you'd be like, that's good fuel economy, especially the fact that it takes regular gas. I think that's amazing. Although with this much horsepower, I'd probably put premium in, just saying. Nowadays, like we have SUVs that average in the 8 and the 9s. So, you know, it might be a little out of date there. Horsepower, we're 302. I thought it was 305. And the torque is 267. And you can feel both of those. We're just gonna loop around here. It's always wild trying to film these types of videos in busy times, which is why we stay out of Niagara Falls, because tourist area. Usually St. Catharines isn't too bad, but I'm pretty happy the community we live in is busy in the summertime. There's lots going on. Not just wineries, but that is a big part of the festivals around here. So I'm in Sport Plus now. We're gonna do a little bit of another poll. But yeah, I don't see how I'm gonna like the hybrid more than this. I know I'm really biased, but I work at a dealership and I drive cars every day. The ES is just it. This is such a great car. Also, this is one of the first cars to have the double armrest that opens both sides. We got a wireless charger now. It is updated because we don't have the mouse pad anymore. We have the newest interface. Yeah, we're gonna push it. We're gonna do paddles, because why not? 3, 2, 1. So good. It's so good. And then if we wanted to just go into normal mode, quiets things down, that engine gets quieted because, you know what, I actually kind of like the sound I've said this before in other videos. I think I like this sound more in normal mode because it's less high pitch. It's actually a little more grunty. And I'm pretty sure I've heard people put exhaust on these cars. I'm always on the fence about it, but it probably sounds really, really good in person. I've only ever seen it in videos. Same with my LS. I always think, should I put an exhaust on it? I know that V8 can really sound great, but then at the same time, we're in the executive or elegant sedan, as some call it, and it's just polished. It's just smooth. I don't even feel the road right now. And this is with an F car, right? The Blackline edition is an F car still. F Sport or F, design, however you want to call it. But the new ES is coming out. I do think it's gonna be faster because the technology has just gotten there with hybrids, with EVs, stuff like that. I always wonder if they're gonna make an ESF, like how we had the RCF, the GSF, all that. That could compete with things like the M5, for instance. Or I guess maybe with the introduction of like an ES500, that could be up there too. And this transmission has come such a long way. When it first came out, I remember the shifts, would feel different. Like you would notice them because it was like the first time having an 8-speed in this car. And now, flawless. In my opinion, the ES is an over-engineered car. I sometimes, only for instances like this, I sometimes miss the navigation being built in. Even though if this was my car, my phone would be paired and I would have Waze on or Google Maps or something. But on a test drive like this, where there's a road closure, just being able to glance down is nice. But again, that's just because I'm on a test drive vehicle. If this was actually my demo, which maybe it will be after this video because I am in love with it, you would have something paired. And people ask me that too. Oh, I just realized something I need to talk about. It still has a clock. We still have like a true Lexus clock here. I still have some plastic on the car. And the backing of the Lexus clock is like the F Sport grille. It's really modern, I really like it. Okay, so this is the ES350. Let's wrap it up and hop into the ES300H and do a comparison of the drive. So now we are in the ES300H. So to give you guys some specs, we have 215 horsepower. So it is gonna be less. It's the 2.5 4-cylinder front wheel drive. However, the fuel economy specs, I'm gonna just round it to half. So we got, in the city, 5.5 liters per 100. On the highway, 5.2, and combined 5.3. So if someone is conscious about fuel, this is the car to do. I love that I'm doing a beige on beige, although I will say the exterior beige is not the old school one. This is the moonbeam, is what I call it, moonbeam beige. I always have to accentuate the N, moon, because I used to say moonbeam beige. And there is way more character to this color than there used to be. I find it's got a lot of texture to it. It's got a lot of metallic, way more silver champagne-y than the classic sandy beige. And I think it pairs well with this light interior. I find light interiors are in right now. We see a lot of people doing it. It brightens up the cabin. It shows you some more layers to the cabin, like the wood grain and how different it is. We still have Sport, Normal, and Eco, but I'm just gonna leave it in Normal. And we're gonna get on the highway. You can hear the CVT a little bit more than the other one. Okay, punch. It's not bad. It's not bad. I would say high end, at the higher end speeds or the higher end revs is gonna feel like it's lacking compared to that 350. But as a car, as a consumer, this isn't bad. Also, fun fact about the ES Hybrid, when they designed this car for 2019, so the ultra luxury, the fully loaded, has wheels that are have some sound deadening to them. So they have this extra chamber. If you hit a bump, that tutum that you normally hear actually isn't there. And what they found was this car became so smooth that the original test drivers of it became actually a little bit nauseous when driving it. And this is before EVs really became what they are today. But this was so smooth that they had to incorporate a little bit of feeling of the road because it made people a little bit car sick, which I think is hilarious. Maybe it was for passengers or something, I don't know. But I feel a bit of vibration in the pedal, and that's the CVT, that's the shifting, right? Everywhere we go tonight is closed, by the way, which is hilarious. So you do feel that a little bit at the higher revs. It's not the end of the world. It's super smooth. I don't think it's lacking power at all. I'm going through a construction zone, so you can hear a little bit of the road noise a little bit more than normal. But for someone that is more conscious about fuel economy, this hybrid for sure is the way to go. In return, in the city, you're gonna get a little bit smoother as well. Like your start stop. I always find that with hybrids. And whenever I have a hybrid as a demo, I always say that the unexpected benefit is actually the fact that when I pull it in my driveway and go to put it in gear, it's like the power is like ready to go. Like you don't have to wind up this internal combustion engine. It's just the electric motor is just like, okay, you wanna go? Let's go. It's effortless is what I call it. So from a stop or in a city, the hybrid is effortless. Once you're going already, once you're already rolling, that gas 350 is just special, I find. It's just, it is so punchy and I really like it. And I should probably mention, at this point, the ES350 is like almost, like we don't sell many of those. I don't think Lexus orders a ton of them. The ES350 all-wheel drive was supposed to be a 4-cylinder all-wheel drive option for people. If they didn't want the V6, or for the same price as the V6, you lose a bit of horsepower, but you gain the all-wheel drive capability. You know, we had some takers for sure, but for the most part, we just sold the V6 or the hybrid. And there was a time that this hybrid was so in demand, it was like a 6-month wait. And that was during a time that like no one had to wait for cars, like back in, 2019 or whatever it was. So that's how high demand these were. I don't know why. Like for instance, I have this car in stock right now for sale. And there was a time where that was never the case, where now it's more similar to just like the regular ES350. And it could be because so many people are going SUVs now. I'm guilty that like whenever I get a chance, I will use an SUV as my demo. But then I drive a sedan like this and I'm like, yo, sedans are still special. Like for someone who just needs to commute or drive their family around, even if it's 80% of the time, a sedan like this really checks all the boxes. Yes, some people say, well, what about when I go up to the cottage in the summer and I want to bring my surfboards and stuff like that? But I had a really good guest, Adam, tell me one time. He said, you need to buy the car that you're going to use for 70% of the time. And then for the other 30%, just rent. So if you need an SUV 30% of the time, just rent an SUV for that road trip. And realistically, if it's just once a year, it's gonna be like, that's technically like 5% of the time. That's not even a big deal. So keep that in mind as you're shopping. This for an everyday commuter, you can't get any better. And that's why you see so many airport limousine services, any commuter taxis or anything like that, they always use the ES hybrid because it's smooth, it's super reliable, it lasts a long time. The highest kilometer one I saw was like 800,000 kilometers, and they're low maintenance, right? Also, I noticed, and I should have talked about the braking on the ES350. The ES300H braking, like the regenerative braking, isn't bad. Some cars, you really feel it. Like I really feel it in like the UX, or sometimes even an NX-RX. In this, it just feels like normal brakes. It doesn't surprise you at all. Okay, so we have some open pore wood grain in this package since we're, more of that luxury, ultra luxury feel. We don't have the pano roof in the hybrid. That's important to note, that the gas version of this car has a pano roof, but I think it adds the spoiler. I'm looking in my mirror to see if there's a spoiler back there. I think there is. Same buttons and screen as that F-Sport 350. And that's why for the most part, oh, here's from a stop. From a stop, just so smooth. It's just a whisper. I'm going 20 kilometers an hour, still just an EV. The gas engine's not even on right now. Up to 35, 40 kilometers an hour. Someone's behind me though. No gas engine. This is all just electric. Now that gas engine came on, but I'm gonna tell you this right now, and this is super important. You barely notice the gas engine turning on this versus even the RX hybrid. And I don't know why. And people are gonna be like, you need to know everything. I don't know, because the RX is newer. There should be less of that. But on the ES, you don't get that big shake or that big sound that the RX and NX do. And I've spent a lot of time in those cars lately. Back to EV, we're just in EV mode. Oh, it's so smooth. Now it kicks on, barely notice. That's crazy. I forgot that this car was this smooth. And that's not even in eco mode. We've just been in normal mode this whole time. Does sport mode give you more power? Let's just check. Yeah. I would say you get a little bit of oomph. It's actually pretty usable. Like, again, as a car, as like your everyday commuter car, this is great. This is really good enough anyway. It's not, going up against a 5 Series BMW with 450 horsepower, but it doesn't need to. That's not what this car is. It's just elegant. It's the elegant sedan. Oh, also because it's the ultra luxury, you get like the curtains in the back, which I always think are just so cool. You get the one that you could press here, and it's like the rear windshield. That is clutch, especially at nighttime, because when headlights are behind you and like it blinds you kind of, you can just cut that with those. Especially if you live in an area that doesn't allow tinted windows, you can just throw that up and it's good. We have like the beige headliner to match that interior. Oh, no way. I see a lifted GX on the road right now. That's a treat. We don't see that very often around here. Lifted with the roof rack. It's from the States for sure. Love my American friends that have all the souped up off-road cars. Here it is. That's so cool. Hi, Lexus friend. From Wisconsin. Nice. And it's like the old GX 460 too, which is cool. Okay, so I think that's enough of the ES300H. Let's wrap things up. Well, I really hope that you guys don't hate me for being so obvious. But here's my conclusion. If you want fuel economy and don't mind a little bit lacking in power, but still enough oomph to get up and go, the ES300H is going to be the car that will bring you smiles and save you thousands of dollars over its lifetime. However, please don't underestimate the ES350, especially in any of the S-Sport variants, with how it is still super, super smooth. You're not sacrificing any of that. You still have all the features of any of the ultra luxuries or luxuries. And that driving experience is so fun. Like being able to punch it in a corner in first gear and light up those tires and be able to still like handle and have fun with it. The ES350 is still such a gem and joy to drive in this class of vehicle. And I just hope everybody watching this video can be reminded of how nice a luxury sedan can still be, even in 2025, which is like the year of the small and mid-size SUV. These two cars behind me still check so many different boxes. And we know that for 2026, we're gonna see a huge redesign to these two cars. And you know, based on the styling, it's so radically different that a little bit of timeless design like these two behind me is definitely the way to go. So let me know in the comments what you think. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Lexus related content, and let me know in the comments which one of these you would have chose, the ES350 or the ES300H. And if you have any other ideas for videos, feel free to reach me on my Instagram, @TheDustinMason.